This is one of those days where back to back making videos while sipping hot chai. Chai! In case you do not know what's a chai, which world are you in? You Goras, you want to be whites. No, sorry. Means not want to be whites. You already are white. But mostly Indians watch my channel. Okay, anyway. Glorious. Okay, so today's video is going to be about Francis Ngannou, the boxer, versus Anthony Joshua. Now, this is not going to be a boxing video. Rather, it's going to be about seriously. I'm not saying this just for the sake of saying it, but life lessons which I feel are very instrumental, very important for people like you and me. In fact, if these are the lessons which I teach my clients or my students. Okay, because there's a lot you can learn from life, and especially a lot you can learn from other people's mistakes. And that will help you become a better person. So instead of you making the mistakes, you watch others. Okay? One second. So I'll give you my thoughts about Francis Ngannou losing to Anthony Joshua. If you don't know who I'm talking, just Google search. There was this big, just to put it in a simple nutshell, there was this big boxing match between Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. Okay? And everyone believed Francis Ngannou from Africa would win it. However, Anthony Joshua won it. And I'd made my predictions in the previous video that Anthony Joshua would win by, I think, points. Yeah, decision. So I'll give you my thoughts. What were the life lessons? What were my observations? See, the first thing which I realized was Francis Ngannou, see, he's an inspiration. He's a guy who few years ago was shoving dirt, sand, and working, in the sandy pits to earn money to feed his family or to earn some money. And he had to carry water from a distance. From there, he went to Europe and France, I don't know, legal or illegally, stayed in a gym, slept on the floor, didn't know that gym was an MMA gym. He wanted to be a boxer, but he joined an MMA gym, so he learned MMA, mixed martial arts. And he's become a successful guy, multi-millionaire. And that has happened in our lifetime. I saw him in his first fight, and I saw him now where apparently is being paid $30 million. Just imagine, I've seen him fight from fight number 1 to now. From zero, he made $30 million. So it's nothing but inspiration. So, but having said that, that doesn't mean just because a guy is inspirational, you might like him. In between of him becoming a champion, he kind of got cocky and overconfident and started fighting the system. He was part of the UFC, which is the mixed martial arts organization. And I had made a prediction in my previous videos that if he leaves this organization, his career is finished. And but he was stubborn. He believed that he was worth much more. He was getting paid $500,000 or 600,000 US dollars as a champion. He became a champion. And with pay-per-view points, he would get 1 million or 2 million. You don't get more than that. But he wanted more because he saw in boxing is where they pay you 30, 40, 50 million, even 100 million, provided you're the creme de la creme. And he believed that he was worth that. So the guy went for boxing. And all his critics, me included, I'd put that video where I said his career is finished. I predicted this. But man, he proved everybody wrong. And there's a little bit of luck also involved in it because He tried to get a boxing negotiation. No organization wanted to sign him. And then this PFL signed him up. It's another competing organization, but they're not so great. And then something, like they say, a black swan event, an event that nobody thought or believed could happen. It happened. Saudi decided they were going to throw millions and millions of dollars to get all the boxing competitors, all the boxing promotions and companies to come together to have the best fights, and they will throw money like water. So different promotions have signed different fighters exclusively to their contract. So when they negotiate, it's always each one is trying to get the maximum money for their fighter. So it becomes very hard to negotiate. Plus, you have to, agree with the TV deals, pay-per-view points, money, splitting the profit. It becomes a very difficult affair because you have competing so many organizations and each one is selfish. But when Saudi said, all you guys come here, whatever money you want, I'll throw it at you. All these competing boxing associations came together, which never happened in the history of boxing, never happened in the history of entertainment or Middle East. And Saudi, out of all the places, and Saudi bin Salman's vision wanted to make this the entertainment capital of the world, of especially the Middle East. And lo and behold, we started having boxing match. And that was where Francis Ngannou was offered a fight. Again, a black swan event. And before you know it, he somehow managed to convince the greatest boxer on the planet, the world champion, what's his name? Tyson Fury. He agreed to fight with him. How he did it, who knows? Again, rare event. And out of all the possibilities, I had given my prediction that it is impossible for him to even win one round. He'll not survive against Tyson because Tyson Fury he has dedicated his whole life to being a world champion boxer. How can you, from another discipline, come and defeat a guy who is a legend in his field? And then the boxing match took place, and again, Black Swan event. Tyson Fury also took him for granted. Nobody believed Francis Ngannou could win. And because he took him for granted, because Tyson Fury took Francis Ngannou for granted, he got knocked down on his ass. And it was clearly evident that Francis Ngannou had won that fight. But because of, the boxing politics, and obviously, you can't have the champion lose. So they made it a split decision where Francis Ngannou, the African guy, he lost. But everyone said he won. And it was a shock. It was a shocker that a guy with no fights, zero boxing fights, comes into boxing, that also when he's 30 or nearly going to be 40 years old, and fights a world champion. It's like that movie Rocky, The world champion calls out some nobody and says, come, you fight me. And he loses by a split decision. It's shocking. So now what happened is, suddenly the world believed that Francis Ngannou is like the eighth wonder of the world. He's a rare specimen. He is going to achieve the impossible. He is going to be a world champion. Everybody believed. Even me, who was a skeptic, I thought, wow, this guy is going to do something shocking. And then he decided to fight another world champion, Anthony Joshua, which was this fight. And now when he's going to fight Anthony Joshua is like this world champion, but from a different organization in boxing. But he's an Olympic level athlete. He has competed in boxing Olympics. He has dedicated like 20, 30 years of his life boxing. So Francis Ngannou decided to challenge this guy. And across the board, everyone predicted Francis Ngannou would win. Everybody. because he already defeated the Gypsy King, that was Tyson Fury. I mean, why can't he defeat this guy? And now that he has experience, he will be better. However, I always like to see these mind games. I always like to see these videos where they have press conferences, interviews. I love looking at them because it gives me insights into how their mind works, the mind games, the psychological warfare. I noticed Francis Ngannou was not just confident, he was overconfident. Overconfident to such a level that every press conference, if you see his body language, it was like this. Every time there was a pose down, he was like this. You look at those videos. He was up. His nose was up. He believed he was ultimate. In fact, he not only believed that he was going to be the greatest boxer of all time, his coach openly challenged. He's going to kill him. He's going to destroy him. I challenge you. Dewey, his name was whatever, dreadlocks, his coach. And every news outlet, every YouTuber who was taking the interviews, the way they used to talk about Francis Ngannou was like, he is going to be the greatest champion. He has a, punching power more powerful than a truck. His chin is unbreakable. He will punch you, you will fall down, you will be finished. And there was so much of hype. Everyone believed he was going to win. In fact, there were even predictions by professional fighters he is going to win within the first round. But Anthony Joshua, who was the Olympic fighter, boxer, he didn't say a single word. He was very humble. He was very quiet. He was so humble that it looked like he had doubts. If you actually look at his photograph, his face during the interviews, his eyes were red, his eyes were sunk. He was very humble. Like, it looked like he already accepted defeat. And I was paying close attention. I was like, why is he doing like this? Like, come on, show some fire. What the hell? But as they started to have press conference after press conference, suddenly I realized this guy, Anthony Joshua, is going to win. You know why? Because when you're competing with someone, when you're fighting a battle, if your enemy is quiet, if your enemy is humble, if your enemy doesn't say a single word, if your enemy shows he's not affected, they say no, still waters run deep. I realize this guy is not showing that he is intense. He's not showing anything. That means he's very dangerous. And when he was asked during the interview, like for example, just 1-2 days before the fight, he was asked at the final interview, did you study Francis Ngannou? He said, yeah, I watched every tape. I saw every fight. I saw everything. I brought in this new coach to study his movements. I analyzed him completely. I'm taking him very seriously. I've looked at every interview of his. I've studied him completely, through and through. But when the same question was asked to Francis Ngannou, he said, have you studied Anthony Joshua? No, I'm not going to study him. My coach is studying. I just focus on me. I focus on what I can do. I don't focus on him. So see the stark contrast, stark. In fact, the guy he defeated, Tyson Fury, was sitting down right in the front. Francis Ngannou is sitting up. He was sitting here. Anthony Joshua was here. Tyson Fury was down because it's a press conference for these fighters. And Tyson Fury has this habit of kiragiri. He'll always say, hey, you silly sausage, I'm going to do this. He has a potty mouth. He always likes to taunt his opponents. So from down there, he was telling Francis, and this is very important. Huh? Listen to this. It was very important. He told him, I'm going to beat you, bash you, or you're nothing, you're a bum or something. Francis Ngannou, and I told this to my client, he did something which was shocking. He threatened him and said, you're lucky that you are fighting with me in boxing rules, because if you'd fight with me in the cage, actual fighting where we can use elbows and Muay Thai and kicks and wrestling and putting down and ground and pound and all that, not just boxing, I would finish you, I'd destroy. In fact, he did this. I will like this. I'll just destroy you like this. It was such an insult because, and it is true, because this guy is a complete fighter. He's not just a boxer. And he insulted Tyson Fury not just in front of these people, in front of the whole world, because it was being telecasted around the world. He just insulted the main guy of boxing in his home turf with his people, his managers. And then there was a manager promoter next to Francis Ngannou. He said, "I'll defeat you twice on Sunday." Okay. And that time the promoter said, "It's okay, let's focus on twice on Sunday later. Friday he has a fight. Let's focus on that first." And Francis Ngannou gave a damn. And Tyson Fury was really pissed. And I was watching all this. I was like, bloody hell. For a guy who was supposed to be humble, because he won the first time, now it has gone to his head with all this hype and this coach. And he believes he's invincible. He believes he's a god. While Anthony Joshua was just sitting quiet there. He was not bothered. Tyson Fury didn't like it. Okay. Finally, the face-to-face pose down. Once again, Anthony Joshua was humble. Francis Ngannou was proud. Up like this. And every press, every person, media, they were like, Francis Ngannou is going to destroy AJ Styles. In fact, his coach, after the press conference, you can check, Dewey, Francis Ngannou coach, he says, he's going to destroy AJ completely. He's going to break him. He's going to test his glass chin. And even Tyson, Francis Ngannou was saying, I'm going to test his glass chin. I'm going to knock him out. But Anthony Joshua didn't say anything. Finally, the fight took place today. I went to sleep. When I woke up, I checked my phone. My prediction was Anthony Joshua would win. Why I said he would win? Because of his experience. 30 years experience as an Olympian. And when they did the pose down, when they were close together, I just realized Francis Ngannou, he looks big, but he's not, means he is big, but Anthony Joshua is bigger than him. I was like, fucking hell, this guy's big, man. And then deep down I had this, if he has studied him so much, he's going to play a technical game, not a full power game. He will keep jabbing and keeping him at a distance. I thought he would win by points, he would play it safe. But when the boxing match, I saw the highlights, you must watch it. I'm pretty sure you must have. When the boxing match finally happened, within the first round, I think within 40 seconds, he knocked him the fuck out. He fell down. And I'll tell you, when he fell down, he got punched on the face. His complete face, you should see his face. His face, he was shocked. Because in the first round, he got knocked out. There are 10 rounds or 12 rounds. First round itself, he fell down. And he was shocked. And then when I think he fell down the second time in the second round, you could clearly make out he lost all his confidence. He knew he lost that fight. You could see it on his face, man. Before he was like this. Now he was breathing heavy. It's like all his courage, everything wiped out. And it was just a matter of time before he'd get knocked out. And it happened. Anthony Joshua exposed Francis Ngannou's lack of experience, inability to move. I'll not give you the technical side because I watched quite a number of videos. It was so clear that Francis Ngannou was a fish out of water. When you really play the boxing game technically, he had zero experience, zero expertise. It was like he didn't belong there. And Anthony Joshua made it look so easy. If you were a person who didn't know these fighters, you would say this guy doesn't know how to box because he made it look that easy. And after he knocked him cold, which was impossible. Nobody predicted that he would get knocked out. Nobody. They predicted AJ would get knocked out, but not Francis Ngannou. And Francis Ngannou got knocked the fuck out. And, after he got knocked out, it takes you time because you just get hit on the head. Like when I had an accident where, in the sense I fell down from my scooter, someone hit me from behind. There's that video I posted. When you wake up, your brain is kind of rattled. So you don't know what's happened. And he got punched by this heavy hitter. Sure, there's some brain damage, something. He must take 1 year off. Otherwise, he's going to get knocked off again. If your brain, it's not a joke on these punches and all that. So, and boxing, they have this glove that you can't see the damage, but it's heavy force. And Francis Ngannou didn't look like the same guy. After he got up, he was like this. And at the press conference, oh bloody hell, you must see that. Francis Ngannou was like, I'm upset with myself, and his confidence was completely drained. He looked like a different human being. He looked so lost. His confidence, everything was crushed. Now, I'm not making this video to gloat over him, ha ha ha, because, I was not on his, camp or his side. But it was a dire warning that, yes, you might be an inspirational story. Yes, you come from zero and you achieve greatness, but the second or the minute you get overconfident, you become arrogant, you think you're invincible, you think you're God, you think you don't even consider that you won by luck. Because now everybody is saying Tyson Fury lost only because he didn't take his fight seriously. He was playing around. That's the only reason he nearly lost. I wouldn't say lost, because he won by a split decision. That's the only reason Francis Ngannou looked so good. But when the fighter took him very seriously, like AJ Styles, Francis Ngannou looked like an amateur, looked like a newbie. And I'll tell you, the only satisfaction I got, that coach of his, Dewey, before he's saying, he's going to destroy AJ Styles, AJ Styles is going to be shattered and this and that. He actually said this at the interview. Dewey said, I'm eating, I have to eat humble pie. I have to eat humble pie. I have to take back my words. And he was completely, like, he looked like he was crying just because after the fight. For me, there were so many valuable lessons that not only it reminded me of where I am, where I came from, but words of wisdom that I could share with my clients about this. Now, Francis Ngannou, he has lost his purchasing power. He has lost his negotiation power. He cannot command the 100 million. And most probably, if he takes up another fight, he will lose the other fight in boxing. He can go back to MMA. He will still win because he's still good at MMA. But the question is this being knocked out. Once you get knocked out, no, your brain and your jaw, and it doesn't remain the same. It has happened to many fighters like Chuck Liddell. Or once you get knocked out, you don't remain the same fighter ever again, ever, because it's like an accident. Your brain cannot. So boxing, my prediction, 100%. Now, if he fights any top level guy, he'll get knocked the fuck out, because now they've studied his weakness. It's exposed. If he goes back to MMA, with PFL, there's hardly any competition. He will win, provided he doesn't get knocked out in the jaw again. Otherwise, I think, the body just remembers that shock and triggers. You lose that jaw power of yours. Your brain automatically it like sends a signal, and you don't remain the same person. But overall, if you look at it, the only consolation Francis Ngannou has is he's a legend. What he has accomplished is unbelievable. He will be always remembered in Africa as the guy who did the impossible. Man, just imagine my lifetime, hardly in these few years, from zero, from being a refugee. Now he negotiated 30 million US dollars for a fight. Huh. He's a multi-millionaire many times, so he doesn't have to fight ever again. He's a multi-millionaire. Well, guys like me are still, the same. So he is a legend. He has done it all. He doesn't have anything else left to prove unless he wants to make more money. But yeah, these were the life lessons I wanted to share. I don't know how will you take it, but this is what I wanted to share with you. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Feel free, comment down below, and I definitely will be reading what you have to say. Anyway, so watch this video. I don't think there'll be very many, but if you do watch this video, let me know your thoughts, because we have a small community that watches these videos. All right. You guys take care. And yeah, if you're a fight fan, I will still keep making videos like this. All right. You guys take care. This is me signing off.